concept of the Ouroboros gives us a distinction of how we go through different karmic cycles. The transfiguration of the soul ascending into the spirit, the renouncing and the denouncing of bloodlines that you've given your power away to, the binding rituals, rituals of defilement, but going through separate initiations to unalive everything that you've ever experienced, having a near-death experience before you have it. And then once the truth sets you free, you can never go back. You can never feel as if you're going back into another state of being. This means that everything has been interconnected and has been interwoven within all things. The interconnectedness of all things gives us the divine presence. The presence of awareness gives you the instruction, releasing the indoctrination, and the debunking of all things being real. Everything is an illusion that is presented to us when we see reality the way that it was meant to be seen, the way that you were meant to be within the movie. So the way that you play the game, you can tap into the codex of the veil, and once you pass through the veil, then there's a pure state of enlightenment. But enlightenment comes in many different forms, in different formats, in different initiations. But daily rituals are always conducted. This means your affirmations are. Everything that is put in mainstream spirituality is esoteric knowledge, because it tells you to tap into the heart and the mind as one. It teaches you how to do divine magic, levitation, the ability to time travel. So everything that has been made, everything that you don't think is real, has been real, but it is also the creation and the destruction of all things. Seeing past the deception of this world, the inception of even the Antichrist is already upon us, because the Antichrist was birthed in 1963. The Antichrist would be 60 years old now, 63, something like that. I'm not good with math. But the point is that everything has divine symmetry. The Statue of Liberty, Archangel Michael in France, as he holds out his sword and looks to the heavens. When you are going to any type of place that has books, there is a symbolism there of a structural architecture of books, information, passed down from generations to generations, passing it to a sisterhood or a brotherhood. So what's interesting enough is that there are many different ways to tap into Shambhala, to tap into nirvana, enlightenment. But using all forms is kind of like, you need cardio, you need weight training, you need, light weight training sometimes with certain exercises. So it's kind of like all things. Everybody in the spiritual community does magic, understands esoteric wisdom, performs positive forms of witchcraft, and also takes wisdom from spiritual texts, such as the Bible. I've almost read the entire Bible. I haven't read it because, believe it or not, in the Old Testament, they used to put blood on the doors and even would perform sacrifices. So, a lot of these things that I'm divulging to you is you knowing the truth, you being shown the truth, and seeing that we've recycled these ideas because it's an emphasis on who we are as a species, ascending into the 6th and the 7th dimension. So the 7th dimensional ley lines are even being put in place as I speak. And so the truth will always be given. The truth will always be spoken. But this means that our daily sense of ritualistic ways of conduction and energy resurfacing and recharging and calling back our energy, what this does is that it performs a way of unaliving everything that you once knew, because you wake up with the veil of amnesia when you incarnate on this planet. So energy is created and destroyed, but this means also that energy really never dies either. It doesn't mean that it dies away. It just is created or destroyed. It's kind of like civilization. If you see San Francisco back, way back in the 1900s, it was completely different. The architectural structures were completely different, and then they tore it down and then built new. That's why the Rockefellers, Harry S. Truman, were able to manifest at great speeds, because they had their bloodlines connected to wealth and they kept it in the family, if you will. But you have 33 degrees of energy. Notice I used the number 33 degrees of energy because all of you have abundance, wealth, connection, and the abilities to transverse space and time, to have the law of compensation, to speak towards this, and using daily prayer. What people mistake with prayer work is that they always pray for themselves. They're like, I'm a hopeless, stupid person that needs saving. You don't need to have a savior, and you don't need to be anybody else's savior. But what this means is that we can take from many different instances and people from even negative spaces and implement it in our own lives. So power is always a reoccurring theme within our society. Power, control, secrecy, but also at the same time being in plain sight. If you go to any museum, there are artifacts that have been reused over and over and over again. And sometimes even in the times where they didn't allow someone like Joan of Arc to be who she needed to be. You know, during the Salem witch trials, most of them were crucified and killed and sacrificed because they didn't have a knowledge that these people were divinely gifted. And I'm not saying all of them were divinely gifted, but most of them probably were. And they just had a gifting, and they were very connected, and they were able to see things, because I'm very connected and I'm able to see things. I see angels and demons all the time, and spirits, and have interactions with people, with their loved ones, like a lot. And I'm able to like see things for people in prophetic visions, and also I'm able to see things for people, like what's on them. You know, like you can kind of like tell when someone has like a dark cloud around them all the time. And sometimes what's interesting is that half of these people who have great presence and connection don't even, they're not even human. What's interesting is that most people that I come across have like a soul and are able to have feelings and emotions and be alive there, but some people are like a blank sheet of paper. And nothing's there. There isn't a soul. There isn't anything. So what's interesting enough is the reason why everything is a secret. If we knew all the truths, we would fuck it up. And I hate to say that, but it's just true. If we knew all the secrets of the universe, we would literally just fuck it up and make everything horrible because of our greed. And that's why everybody hates Christianity, because people don't want to know what right and wrong is, or have a great moral compass. And that's why I love the Bible, and that's why I love like people who have their own faith, and I love many people of many different walks. So this is mean. I don't judge, but the one thing I do know is that all paths are leading to that sense of enlightenment, mind and heart. And esoteric wisdom is basically the alchemy of not only controlling your mind, but promoting the sense of astral projecting into the awareness and energy projecting into the stratosphere of the serpent, the Ouroboros, within the microcosm of everything that is holy, going through the cycle again of rebirth, death, and deconstruction, destruction, and then life being appeared in awareness. That's why we have 0 point creation, so to speak, is that everything that was not manifested and came into the light of awareness, then it was able to be alive. And so most of you like probably don't even remember a lot of you being a child, and the reason for that is because you incarnated and only knew a certain age of where you had some form of memory. But also, what's interesting, a lot of people think death is evil. Death isn't evil. The Grim Reaper is not an evil. The angel of death is not evil either. They just carry out who needs to go and who needs to stay. And Saint the Morte helped Jesus ascend into the afterlife. These ancient wisdoms don't want to be taught about. They don't want to be known, because once you get into that, people think you've lost your way. But once you realize that every form of truth, whether it's coming from a Masonic Bible, whether it's coming from a Holy Bible, the Quran, books and omens, and books on witchcraft, all have a symbolism of esoteric knowledge and wisdom, and that pointing into the direction of enlightenment. Like, there is a sense of energy of light and dark in all things. So this is what I mean, is that, like, we shouldn't negate our dark side, because that's not really getting the point across, because we can't only focus on our light energies, because it's not really, it doesn't make sense. And like most of these people that manifest really well, they're not telling you what they're actually doing, because if they did, you would think that they were weird. But I promise you that even Christians know that they manifest all the time. They know that they manifest. It's like Abraham Hicks and the evangelical guy literally were arguing who was going to get their luggage first. No, I'm going to get my luggage first. No, I'm going to get my luggage first. So two sides of the same fucking coin are wondering if they're going to get their luggage, like, first. I mean, it's all in their own plain sight, you know. It's all in plain sight. You can't miss it. It's right there for you. It's letting you know.